Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name of the one true God, and Yahweh Shai is the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. And I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and I want to send salutations to all the Akim throughout the four corners of the earth, exalting the name of Yahweh and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, in truth and in sincerity. All right, this lesson is going to be about the downfall of Babylon, and we're seeing it start to crumble. We're seeing the beginning stages. We've been seeing it, but it's just literally speaking to us. It's literally in the physical it's so obvious. Like, it's just super obvious that it's brewing. Like, it's building, to the end. It's building up to the end. And right now, the US and China are basically having a conflict over tariffs, and based on merchandise and trades. And right now, the tariffs, are being negotiated, or they're trying to make a negotiation, but China is just not agreeing with the U.S. So Trump is playing hardball with China. Basically, what China uses as blackmail. They're saying that they're using blackmail to bully them. Like, they're saying that America is trying to bully China into these deals. All right, and China is just not backing down. Some of the spokesmen for China said that we have been here for over 5,000 years, and we will continue to be here another 5,000. Like, they have been preparing for the past 10 years for this type of action that's going on with negotiations on trade and market. And right now, China has been hit financially. I think they lost like billions or trillions of dollars or something like that. And they're just not backing down because they deep down have been prepared for this. All right. And, they're just not scared anymore. And the scriptures talk about that. They don't feel like they're the little homie no more. They just not going to back down. They don't care, because they're truly ready for war from an economic level and from a actual physical level. So both sides of war, they truly have been preparing for this because they knew this day would come. This is Joel 3:9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat their plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. So right now, they're preparing for war, because this could be a conflict of war. All right. Like they say, the major wars are banking wars. All right. And this is about money and power. All right. And right now, China is not budging. America is trying to punk China, and China is not budging, because they are saying we are not weak. We are strong. They do have a strength. They're military. And they got missiles too. And they got allies too. So they feel like they have strength. All right. And I'm going to play this clip to show that, how we use China and how the U.S. is going to strike deals with other nations if China does not come around. All right.
And tariffs on all Chinese goods going into the U.S. That's 104% on anything consumers buy from China. Clothing, shoes, car parts, toys, tech, household stuff. The list goes on and on. Adidas has 82 factories in China. 80% of all toys in the U.S. are made in China. 29% of clothing and footwear. Basically everything you use in daily life. And the deadlines are now piling on. These back and forth tariffs are set to take effect over the next 48 hours. When it will be reflected in the prices you pay, that still isn't clear. It could be weeks, months, even years. Some U.S. companies are coming under pressure to move their entire supply chains, which for a company like Apple could take years. What does seem to be clear, though, Savannah, is that these higher tariffs are not going away. For global trade, this is the new norm.
Janice, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent announced yesterday the U.S. is opening trade negotiations with Japan. He posted on X that President Trump tasked him to co-lead the talks. What should we know about this?
Well, China is defiant, but other countries like Japan, like Vietnam, Cambodia, South Korea, they're all signaling they want to negotiate with the U.S., even if the talks are no guarantee of big tariff relief. Japan looks set to get priority after this call between President Trump and Japan's Prime Minister, who says he's sending a trade team to Washington. They will present a package of measures to try to reduce the 24% tariffs that were levied as part of Liberation Day. And remember, there's also 25% tariffs coming in on cars. The auto sector is a huge pillar of Japan's economy. Japanese firms, some of the biggest investors in the U.S. So the Treasury Secretary is set to lead those talks. Japan is one of America's closest allies and a regional security partner. So moving to the front of the line.
So now they're probably going to move on to Japan, you know? So it's like the scriptures are going to fulfill themselves when they look at the great whore as it goes down. They're going to be weeping because they made so much money off of this nation, you know. So now you add Japan onto this, and China has got conflict, and then other nations that are down with America are going to be like, damn, you know, us too. We can't make money off this place no more once it has been destroyed. All right, so they're going to add on more and more people. Oh, China don't want to get down. Well, this country will get down. That country will get down. That country will get down with us. And then when the other nations team up to go against America or Babylon, I'll just say Babylon, and then destroy it, all these nations are going to realize, like, man, we destroyed our moneymaker. And then things are going to have to be reset, and then whoever else is left standing, they're going to feel like they're the next superpower, and then they think they're going to run the world. But we know the Lord is going to return and put an end to that. So, I mean, the scriptures are like it's war brewing. You know, it's financial wars, and then it's going to turn into a physical one, a bloody one. This is Revelations 18 and 9. Slacky. And says, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, which is the great whore, Babylon, America, shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see her smoke, they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, the great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. So you see, Japan's about to link up probably with America and do a deal. All right, they'll probably be the ones that are weeping also. It says the merchants of gold and silver and precious stone and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all thyine wood and all manner of vessels and ivory and all manner of vessels of precious wood and of brass and of iron and of marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. All of this it's everything. It's just listing everything you can buy, because you got the black market. Remember, slaves and souls of men. You got, well, what do they got? Sex trafficking. That's underground stuff. All that underground stuff is just going to be put to an end. All right? I don't know the exact statistics, but they talk about a high percentage of sex trafficking that happens every day. That's a business. All right? That's just on the black market. That's underground stuff that they do. It said that's why they use so much blackmail against these other countries. You know what I mean? Because they got documents on them. It says in the fruits that thy soul lusteth after are departed from thee, and all the things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. And the merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, the great city that was clothed with fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stone and pearls. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught. And every shipmaster and all the company of the ships, sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? So they're going to be like, damn, ain't nothing as great as this. They called America the door, the golden door, you know. Like people come here for the American dream, and then the dream is going to turn to a nightmare. All right. It says, verse 19, and they cast dust on their heads and cried and weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that the great city wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness, for in 1 hour she is made desolate. So in 1 hour, the Lord is going to bring that judgment. He's going to allow these other nations to team up and destroy this place in 1 hour. That's a mighty judgment. And right now we are watching the beginning stages. Stay tuned. All praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai.